Welcome back. Here we go again, Boloy Movie Reviews with Saul Good. What's up, Saul Good?
It's all good.
Yeah. Just
Not
recent
much. How you doing, man?
doing good. Yeah. I guess what we're gonna talk about is a movie with we
We talk
just
about
okay.
uh, 1917.
1917.
Uh, 1917 movie takes place in World War One,
Yeah.
written and directed by Sam Mendes,
Sam Mendes. If you don't know Sam
starting
Mendes, he made
mhm,
American Beauty.
American Beauty,
Yeah.
another
Another.
good visual film,
Yep. With Kevin
good
Spacey.
directing. Kevin Spacey, unfortunately. Um, Also, what's the name of the of his ex-wife or his wife? I think it's Annette Bening. I don't remember.
Nah, I'm not
Anyway,
sure.
we're
Yeah.
talking about 1917.
1917.
Again, written and directed by Sam Mendes. It stars Dean Charles Chapman and George McKay as our main characters. Kind of a spoiler, but it has special appearances by Colin Firth, Mark Strong, Benedict Cumberbatch. If you're a movie or TV buff, you should know those names. Uh, Two British soldiers are sent to deliver an urgent message to an isolated regiment.
Okay.
If the message is not delivered in time, the regiment will walk into a trap and be massacred. And in order to get to the regiment, they will need to cross through enemy territory and a bunch of battlefield.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the premise of the movie.
If
So I'll
you
leave it up to you how you want to start.
okay.
Go ahead.
Well, the thing is that like if you've seen the trailer, and if you're good at
Mhm.
figure things out, you're probably gonna see it coming, which I
Mhm.
which I did anyway. But yeah, if not, go see it, watch it. Highly recommend it. That's my straight up point. Go watch it. It's a good movie, and especially for the people who loves war movies. If you're a big fan of Saving Private Ryan, this is for you. And first thing, um, let me see. Looking at my notes, first thing I want to discuss, what what I thought of it. Well, I thought it was a very good movie. It was very cinematic. It was very engaging at the same time, and especially just looking at it, like every scene, the visuals is amazing. It felt like you were along with the main characters. It felt like you were with them. It felt like you were in the
Mhm.
war with them. And the thing is that like comparing it to other movies that's similar with the same aspect of technicality like Birdman, Revenant, it's hard not to compare those three movies is because like you don't see too many of one shot film or
Mhm.
it's not technically one shot film. It it's a movie that made it seems like it's a one shot film. And also throwing in Man of Children, that was also a good movie. Comparing those movies, and if you enjoy them, you're probably gonna love this one. To me, what I thought about it, Sam Mendes, man, I would say
Hmm.
he made something special. I mean, first of all, he did was that movie called James Bond movie. I think the first James Bond movie with Daniel Craig is one of the best one, and the sequel I'm not sure for me if they were one of the great ones, but they're still good. But not probably a recommendation in
Mhm.
my opinion, and that's just my thought. And if you've seen James Bond movie, the first one with Daniel Craig, you're gonna love the action in this one also. He made a very
Casino
realistic.
Royale.
Yeah, there you go, Casino Royale. In Casino Royale, the action is very realistic. It's not like a very it's not like a Hollywood type of action. And I think for me, that's probably one of the biggest strength in this movie is the
It's not
experience of
a.
watching it. Like towards
It's not
the
a
end.
superhero.
Yeah, there you go. It's not just like like when you watch what do you call it? I think Casino Royale is probably a good comparison. Like all the other James Bond movies before Casino Royale, they're very generic type of spy movie. Like it will not, like they're never gonna happen in real life. Like it's just for some reason they got like laser beams going on. You got like
Mhm.
like some kind of like some crazy ideas of like type of
Super
action.
villains and all
Yeah,
that.
super villains. And with this movie, you would say like it's I would say like it's very realistic and like it's hard
Very
like it's
realistic.
yeah, it's a realistic type of war movie. And especially like everything happening is one shot. I think to me is very effective, especially the way how the story is moved. It's a very simple story. I
Mhm.
mean, going from point A to point B. That's pretty much the main premise of the movie. And to me, like with just one shot, it works because it doesn't try to drag you with how long is the movie? 2 hour movie. It doesn't like try to like
It's actually 2 hours. It's less than our last movie review.
yeah,
It's
right,
less than Knives Out. This
yeah,
is like right at the 2 hour mark.
yeah, like within like within those few hours, like stuff happen within few hours that will make
Yeah.
sense in war. It doesn't like give you like some like character development days after, and then these characters grow up, etc. Like
Hmm.
that, technically it doesn't follow a lot of character development. What it does, it follows the journey of the two men who were,
Actually follows the character
yeah,
physically
like literally.
rather than
Yeah,
literally follows them.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the movie takes place what under because they needed to get the message in under 24 hours. So the movie takes place in under 24 hours,
within 2 hours.
which
Yeah,
yeah, going back to you say to you saying the realistic.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think to me like one of the biggest strengths is probably the production value of this movie. I don't
Oh
think
yeah,
I don't
it's
to me like there are like certain shots that kind of give me chills. Like
the same here.
I would not. This is not a spoiler, but like when it when I forgot like which scene it was. I think it was like the scene when it introduced the nighttime for the first time in that movie, and then there's
Hmm.
that music, and then it just like slowly pan out from inside the window all the way out, and then lower,
Hmm.
and then you just like you like see this one huge light, and the characters behind is just like and then the music score is just like it gave me chills. Like
It's amazing.
yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
very simple
it's pretty
shot, but at
great.
the same time, like it's very effective. I mean, it's not just that shot that makes it, that gave me chills. There's like other shot that I felt like.
Hmm.
I think to me, what really stood out for me the most, it made me really want to cheer for the main character so badly, and at the same time, I felt like I'm just gonna like go go run, Forest
Like,
run.
don't do it, don't die,
Yeah, I think it's
please.
like
You gotta make it.
it's probably like the last maybe the last 15 minutes of the movie. I think you're
Hmm.
probably gonna see this if you've seen the trailer where he was running and then everything is exploding
Hmm.
behind him. That shot alone, I mean, it's just like I felt it. Like it felt like what do you call it? Like it felt like I really want to like it's tugging my emotion. That's all I could say. Like
Yeah. Is that your favorite shot of the movie? Him running
one of my
on the
favorite.
grass while the rest are running forward because he's running towards the captain, right?
Yeah, it's
But
one
the
of
rest
my
of the regiment is running
the other
across to the
direction.
German line.
Yeah, I
So
mean
I was gonna ask, is that your favorite shot of the film?
one of my favorite shots. Um,
One of your favorite shots? Is it your favorite though?
one of my favorite shots. Um, it's
So
not
which
just
one's your favorite then?
it's not just because it's the shot. It's just because the content of that scene, like
The context.
the context.
Like
Sorry, yeah,
he's
that's right.
almost to the finish line.
Yeah, exactly. And and suddenly like he has this conflict that he has to go through, and it's like
Mhm.
it was just like, how are you gonna deal with this? Things are already happening. Are you gonna um what you call it, like, are you gonna just let it I mean, for me, like, I think the reason why, like, I put myself in the main character's point of view and what I would do in that moment, I think it's
Mhm.
probably because it's like it's a very courageous act and I felt it. And yeah, I mean, not to
Yeah.
drag along, yeah, that's my main thoughts about the movie. I have some questions and possibly like some um nitpick in that movie, but I will have you say your thoughts first.
Oh, my thoughts are pretty similar to yours. Great cinematography, great visuals. Again, the one take style works well on this film. I can't really say much because when I like a film or something, when I review it, I can't say much because if I like it, I just like it.
Yeah.
If I don't like something, I'd talk about more on that. Like remember when we were our last review,
Mhm.
I told you so many times about two things about that last movie that we reviewed. How early the reveal was, and
Mhm.
Daniel Craig's accent. I kept telling you those things over and over again because it bothered me. For
Yeah.
this movie, I can't say much because I like it. It looks great visually. If you're a big fan like me of movie cinematography, picture quality, visual, this is a great movie. Even if you don't like war movies, it's a great study in
Mhm.
how to do camera work at
Yeah.
least.
Not just camera
That's the
work.
only thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I really like it. So my review is gonna be short. The only thing I wish that the movie did more, which kind of it will break the one take thing was because we have these special appearances by these well-known actors.
Yeah.
Now I kind of want a movie based on this movie, or like a TV series based on this movie.
Hmm. I
Kind of
see.
like what happened to remember how Saving Private Ryan enabled the one of the best TV shows ever, Band of Brothers
Yeah.
for HBO.
Yeah.
I want something similar to happen because they built the sets for this movie.
Yeah.
All practical, by the way. No
Yeah.
CGI.
Yeah. Well.
Even the lights and the shadows, they
Mhm.
practiced all that, dude.
Maybe
That's
maybe
just to me that was amazing.
maybe there's some few CGIs.
There's a few, but
Yeah.
it's
It's hard to tell.
hard to spot them. But if you watch I posted a link on our on my Facebook, but they went practical, all practical on this. They dug trenches and everything for this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, no
Yeah.
green screen, barely any green screen.
Yep.
Um, Otherwise, again, going back to what you were saying, cinematography and visuals are great.
Yeah.
The shot that I like, um, compared to you, you said you like the shot where he was running across the soldiers.
Mhm.
For me, and that's near the end. So I'm gonna go a
The
little bit
beginning.
opposite here. The shot I like actually is at the beginning
The begin.
because the
Yeah.
camera
I like that. Yeah.
starts at green,
Mhm.
green grass. It's so nice. It's so
Mhm.
tranquil.
Mhm.
The camera starts following them backwards, and
Yeah.
it goes into the trench. It's so brown. You see soldiers that are like tired and dirty.
Yep.
That transition to me,
It's
and
good.
especially at the start of the movie,
Mhm.
I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is my take.
Well, actually,
The movie captured me from the start.
piggyback on that, same thing for me. I've noticed that too. Like, yeah, it was colorful, green scenery, nice
Blue sky.
blue sky, and then suddenly he just like went dirt. People are just like depressed. People are just like, we're gonna die, kind of like in a
They're
mood.
sleeping.
Yeah, it changes the
Yeah.
mood, and to kind of like not to spoil anything.
Hmm. Well, we can give a spoiler warning,
Okay.
so people
Spoiler
listening.
warning. Well, this is not technically spoiler warning, but at the end
Hmm.
of the movie, it's very similar to what happened in the beginning.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or he's
And
back at the green grass.
hmm pretty much the color says something in that movie. It's because war is not a very colorful thing. So I think like Sam
Hmm.
Mendes has this idea of using a bit of color scheme and what it means in that movie.
Hmm.
And I think that's a really good, thought for a director to implement and to add as a storytelling in 19 yeah in that movie. Um, to I guess like kind of going to the stuff that I have some issues. Well, not really an issue, but I
Yeah,
say
the
the
you said you had
weakness.
a question. You had some questions earlier.
Yeah, or the weakness of the movie. I
Hmm.
am not sure if some scenes are necessary. And I was thinking to myself, is unless that movie was based off a true story.
What scene are you talking about? Can you give an example?
Um, okay, this probably is spoiler.
Spoiler warning.
Spoiler warning. The woman in the baby scene, and
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
felt
that's
like
probably added for.
yeah, I felt like just to make the movie a bit longer or to add like a little bit of break to kind of like have the
Mhm.
audience rest a bit from the action. And I think
That's true. That's actually a good point.
I was thinking to myself, it's like, I mean, it's like you're kind of in a hurry in a very important mission, but then you kind of took a little bit of time to rest. I mean, it does make sense on that way, but before that, he had like a longer rest before that.
To be fair, he was bleeding in the back of his head after just getting shot.
Yeah, and he got knocked out basically.
He got knocked out.
And
That's fair.
and but the thing is that he slept the whole thing, right? And I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that's more like a longer rest than just like talking to the woman, or I'm not sure
I
what she
think
even did to like
because when he got knocked out, it was still afternoon. By the time he woke up, it was already
nighttime.
past evening. Because remember, the woman said when he started walking again, it was starting to turn into morning. So
Yeah,
he
yeah.
slept for a while on that house, right?
I think so. Well, I mean, it doesn't.
So there was still light when he got into the house. He got
Yeah,
shot,
yeah.
and then when he woke up, it was dark. But I thought it was evening. But then
Me
when he got
too.
to the woman's
Yeah,
place, it was already morning.
yeah. So I think to me, like that's one of the things where I felt like, was that scene even necessary? Or
Hmm.
I think for me, like if you cut that scene and you just straight forward to like him being chased, I mean it's pretty much what happened anyways, because before that scene he was being chased,
Hmm.
and then the woman in the baby scene, and then right after that him being chased again, and I felt like it could have, just cut that off, or it could have, um, I felt like it was kind of like veering into a different direction, pretty much. I'm not sure if that was needed, in my
Hmm.
opinion. And to be honest, it's probably one of my least favorite scenes
Hmm.
because there's
Yeah,
nothing in
because
it. There's no
it's not much.
there's no intensity. There's no. It's too safe, right?
But I think because I think you're right. You said it is for the audience to kind of breathe,
Yeah, but I felt like
take a break.
it's not really. I think it could have done differently, because like right after they got through to that tunnel,
Hmm.
and then they're walking towards the field. And I think to me, after that
Hmm.
scene, that was like a good break afterwards, because you can tell they're supposed to be in a safer area where everyone
Yeah.
has left, and it's just only two of them. And to me, that's one was a good indication of it's time, for the movie to kind of have a little bit of space to breathe between actions. But then at the same time, do you really need that woman in baby scene? Because before that scene, there's really nothing much happened besides it. Him walking up
Getting chased.
or getting chased. Yeah, I mean that's probably just one of my nitpick. And also, I wasn't so sure if like him being like one of the early scenes where he got his hand um like
Oh my god.
cut in the first place. You know, it's like it's a very gruesome scene. Well, not well, yeah, it was because his hand, you know, touches a corpse and stuff. But at the same time, I wasn't so sure if that was also necessary because he did do anything in the
Yeah.
story. Yeah, I felt like it was just
Kind of
added.
feel bad for the guy actually.
Yeah, I felt like it was just added for some reason. Like certain things were just
Mhm.
added just because it can, probably add to the story. But I think it wasn't really needed because I
Mhm.
felt like it was probably a distraction of just like, ew, oh
It
my god,
was.
yeah,
For me, it was because the entire movie I was thinking, when is his hand gonna get infected?
exactly,
So it,
right?
it distracted me a bit for the movie.
Yeah, I was thinking to myself,
Because
it's
I'm like,
like, is he gonna like feel dizzy? Is he gonna have like a what you call it? Is he gonna have a sick or something, a sickness or something, or fever
hmm
throughout this? I mean, that
he
would
should have, because he freaking dipped it in a corpse. That
exactly.
thing should have been infected by the time he got to the captain.
I think that would have like if he did, I think that would have add more to the story because it would have been harder for him to,
Yeah,
to journey with that kind
but
of condition.
uh,
Yeah,
like you said, it just became an unnecessary distraction.
yeah, and yeah,
hmm
and also this is just a nitpick, a very nitpick of me. You have like the two main actors are really good in this movie. Um,
hmm
but at the same time, how to call it, how to put it this way, I I think like in some moments I felt like they could have added more depth into what you call it, like emotions,
hmm
like I mean I'm not sure if I should like spoil it all the way because I
Well,
want.
you can give a spoiler warning.
Okay, this is a spoiler warning.
This is a movie review discussion anyway,
Yeah,
so
this is a spoiler warning. Okay, one of them, bleh, you got like stab, and then, right? I think to me that's probably like one of the most, well, not one of the most, but like it's probably, like a sad thing to happen in the movie, and it was sad, like because like you were introduced with these two main
hmm
characters, and then one of them early on just like disappeared, and I think right after that, it became like a one man's journey, and I
hmm
think like one of the scene where I felt like one actor, I think he was too exaggerate when his emotion is his brother, the older brother. I mean,
hmm
and I just felt like the acting was just way too what you call it um the facial expression was just way too exaggerated for me because like everything has been too real. Like it felt everything
yeah.
like like you were there with them in back in 1970s. I mean 1917. And then just I don't know. I mean it's just me basically. I think yeah. There's one of the actors' emotions just kind of threw me off a bit because I think it was just way too exaggerated.
Kind of out of place.
Yeah, there you go. Out of place. Because like you have the two main
Okay.
characters, the acting is very what you call that normal, natural, as if like
Oh, that's why that's why this movie's nominated for everything else except acting.
acting. Yeah, right. I mean the two actors are good, but I wouldn't
They're not
say
bad.
they're not bad. Yeah, there you go. But I wouldn't say I would give them some Oscar for it or nominate them for
hmm
Oscar, and pretty much that's what I'm going at.
No, I don't think they deserved it, but
Yeah,
it's not bad.
yeah, it's not bad, but it's just that I think it needed just a little bit more emotions on those acting. But
Hmm.
considering that these actors are kind of new, I haven't, to be honest, I'm not too familiar with them, and their faces kind of feel
Yeah.
like have I seen this guy before? You know that type. But yeah, but at the same time, overall, like most of the actors were really good. It's just like one scene that I felt like
Hmm.
you know the emotions are not transcending. Like I'm not feeling it. It just
Hmm.
felt like you're forcing yourself to cry, kind of emotion.
I
Yeah,
see.
and
Okay. Yeah,
that's a
that makes
very
sense.
and also that's like a very nitpick of choosing what's the weakest point of that movie. But overall, it's a very good movie. What about you?
Hmm. Yeah, I recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
Very. You guys have time to watch, go watch it. Otherwise, again, the only issue I had was I think the one shot thing when it went fade to black. I know he passed out,
Mm-hmm.
but the fade to black kind of like stopped my because I was following so intently,
Mm-hmm.
and that fade to black kind of killed my suspense, and I'm like,
Mm.
oh,
I see what you mean.
right.
Yeah, and I actually,
And
to
it
be
kind of
honest,
stopped me on my tracks. I'm like, I've been following you, dude. Why'd you stop?
yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think that's what I meant. That was just like
Mhm.
right before the woman and baby scene, and I felt like
Mhm.
that was already a good breather right there.
Mhm.
And that's why when the woman baby was added, I just felt like it was kind of dragging on a bit. I mean, yeah,
Unnecessary.
and I
Yeah.
was like thinking, like how's that connecting to the story? And I don't, I mean, if anyone, somebody can explain it for me, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, the movie's great. Especially if you're, like you said in the beginning, if you're a war fan, it's great.
Mm.
If you're a fan of cinematography and visual like I am, it's great, amazing actually.
How would you
I
grade
might
it though?
actually start looking up old Sam Mendes movies because he's like, if he's like this, where he uses mostly practical sets like Christopher Nolan does,
Mm-hmm.
then almost every one of his movies is
Like
maybe
Casino
worth
Royale.
watching.
Yeah, Casino Royale did
I
like
think he
some good stuff.
directed Skyfall too.
Skyfall, yeah. Skyfall wasn't. I'm not sure if I enjoyed that one though.
I
Yeah,
haven't seen most of it,
yeah, but Casino
but
Royale
yeah,
was good. Mm.
Casino Royale, yeah, that one's great.
Yeah. How
Otherwise,
I would
anything else you wanted to add before we
from
come to an end
1 to
here?
10 your
Rate
rating?
1 to 10.
Yeah.
It's kind of unfair because I want to give it a like 9 out of 10
Mm-hmm.
because, like you said, the only thing that's holding it back is the acting
Yeah.
and maybe some of the pacing,
Pacing. Yeah. Yeah.
but everything else is like great. So I would say either an 8 or a 9 out of 10,
Hmm. Okay.
minus 2 points for the acting and oh sorry, minus 1 point for the acting, minus 1 point for the pacing because it did kind of throw us off a bit.
Yeah. Uh.
Otherwise, the movie is amazing for me.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about you?
What about me? Yeah, as usual, I usually grade it with two categories. One is what's my
Hmm.
opinion on it, and two, what I think it deserved in terms of not being biased, but just like grading overall of the movie. For me,
Hmm.
since I like the movie and enjoy it, and I'm entertained at the same time, I will probably give it 9. But
Hmm.
if I have to be someone else and critique it like Simon Cowell, um, maybe like 8.5 or somewhat between. Yeah, I
So
think probably
we're about the same range.
8.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. It's a good movie, but you know, I'm just nitpicky, pretty much. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's a great movie, and
I
just a
mean,
couple things for you that doesn't make it perfect,
yeah, I mean at the same
basically.
time, like I still give it 9 point out of 10. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, 9 out of 10. It's just because that's my,
You're
it's for
actually more lenient than I am.
yeah,
I took off 2 points. You only took off 1 point.
yeah. I mean, even though like some movies might not be perfect for me, they're
Hmm.
still entertaining, if that's and also
Entertaining. It's great.
you have to consider that it's a different kind of movie, so not
Hmm.
everyone can pull it off.
Yeah. Plus,
So
not everyone likes old war movies, to be honest.
yeah, I mean I love war movies. I love Hacksaw Ridge,
Me too.
Private Ryan, Dunkirk. Yeah, with just this movie, the 9 out of 10 is probably a little bit biased, in my opinion.
Because
But
of
at the
Sam
same time,
Mendes.
that's
It's
me.
a great
Yeah,
visual movie, though.
yeah. I mean that's me. But yeah, if anyone gave it a little bit lower, I could see that. But I don't think it can go beyond lower than 8 or something.
I don't think so
No.
because everything else is great. Even the sound is great.
Yeah,
Sound,
yeah. The sound,
music is great.
yeah, the sound.
Special appearances, like I said before, everything is almost practical set in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Nolan. Everything's almost practical.
Nolan. All right, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's it for our movie review and discussion. Hope you all enjoy it.
All right.
Again, we recommend it. Go watch it if you have time.
Yeah.
Um, and thank you for listening.
Bye bye.
See you guys next time.